Hello, friends. Today we are going to learn about two very important things which should be considered while teaching because they have huge impact on students' learning. So let's see what they are. In this video, we are going to learn about the impact of sharing learning intentions and success criteria with our students. Now, these are very critical pieces of information which the students need to be successful learners. Now, let's see what are learning intentions. Learning intentions are those brief statements which describe about what is that which the student should know or should understand or should be able to do as a part of their learning. So it answers the question, where am I going? And let's see some of the salient features of learning intentions. Learning intentions should be very brief and concise statements. They should be written in a student-friendly language, and also it should be very specific, demonstrating about what kind of learning is going on. So therefore, it should use observable and measurable verbs, something like explain, compare, defend, assemble, classify, and so many other verbs. And also it should be written from the student's perspective, like I am learning to, or we are learning to. So these are the important things which we should remember while writing learning intentions. Now let's see some of the examples. We are learning to enlist different types of energies, construct a pie chart, solve the problem using more than one strategy, relate the effect of diet on health, work as a part of team, identify persuasive strategies used by the author. Now, you see, all of these statements are brief statements. They're very concise. They are specifically telling about what kind of learning is taking place. And all of these verbs which are used are observable and measurable. So this is how learning intentions should be written. Now, let's also identify how to use the learning intentions effectively while teaching. The most important thing is to share the learning intention with the students right at the beginning. So we can have a slide ready with us on which all the learning intentions are there, and we can share that slide with the students. We can also ask the children to paraphrase it just for us to understand whether they have understood the learning intentions or not. The reason why we should share it with them is that it presents a big picture of what they can expect in the lesson. And also, we should keep revisiting our learning intentions so that we both as student and teacher stay focused and keep assessing how well these learning intentions are being achieved. Now let's have a look at what are the various ways by which learning intentions can be shared with the students. We can share it with them in the form of a reflection grid, where the children write the learning intentions on, say, the left hand side column, and on the right hand side column their reflections of how well have they achieved it. So for example, if the learning intention is to construct a pie chart, then the reflection could be, I could construct the pie chart properly at the first attempt, and I feel confident now on creating more pie charts. Similarly, say another learning intention is work as a part of team. Now here the child may reflect and write, I contributed to my team and gave them an idea which everybody liked. I was also polite to team members and listened to them attentively. Now this way they can keep writing their learning intentions and how well are they achieving it. Their own reflections on it can be written here. This is a part of metacognition. Now, because the children are reflecting on their learning, they are thinking metacognitively. Another way of sharing learning intention is in the form of advanced organizers, a concept map or a mind map. Say, for example, we are teaching them atoms and molecules. And in that, we want to teach them about difference between atoms and molecules, some examples of atoms, some examples of molecules, and subatomic particles. Now, what we can ask our students is, before we have begun with the chapter, we can ask them to list down all that which they already know about these subtopics. And then they can keep adding the new information as you keep proceeding with each and every subtopic. So this way also we can share the learning intention with the students. By the end, they will have a proper concept map ready with them. Now let's understand about what is success criteria. Success criteria summarizes the key things that the students need to focus on to achieve the learning intention. So it answers the question, how am I going? So what are the special features of success criteria? First thing, it should be written in a student-friendly language. It should be linked to the learning goal. And also, it should be worked out with the students before starting the activity. It can be shared in the form of a checklist, or in the form of a T-chart, or in the form of a rubric. Let's have a look at some examples. The learning goal is, we are learning to write a scary mystery story. So the success criteria can be, what am I looking for? I'm looking for setting the scene in the first paragraph, showing, not telling. The hair at the back of her neck stood at the end, rather than she was scared. Building up tension or suspense, alone in the darkness. Using spooky adjectives and powerful verbs. Keeping some things secret or unrevealed. She could hear something scratching. Putting speech marks before and after the speech, and using proper punctuations. Now, when the children will have all of this as a success criteria, they will be attempting their task in a better manner. Let's have a look at another example. This is from mathematics. We are learning to graph linear equations by graphing coordinate points. Now, success criteria would look like identifying appropriate x values in the domain for this function, calculating y value for a given element of the domain, graphing the coordinate points and connecting them with a line, using mathematical language in my explanation, and explaining the relationship between x and y in the linear function. All of this will help the students not miss out any step and successfully achieve the learning goal. Let's have a look at one of the social learning intention. This is, I will quietly listen to what others are saying. So the success criteria could be, I look at the person speaking. I will not interrupt the person speaking to state my thoughts. I will politely ask questions for clarity. So here we are providing them with all the important things which they should be looking for if they have to achieve this learning goal. Now let's have a look at some of the product-based success criteria. Suppose you're expecting some product to be produced by the end of the learning goal. The example is, we are learning to create a newsletter. Now here, what we can do is, the best thing is to provide them with a variety of different newsletters and together work out the success criteria. So this way, if the students are involved in creating the success criteria, they will definitely be coming out with a better product. So finally, what are the benefits of sharing success criteria? First thing is that so success criteria provides the tool for students to self-monitor their progress. You know, students are more successful and they're more engaged with the task if they would know very clearly what success looks like. Also, they will be able to do the self or peer assessment very nicely because the success criteria is already provided to them. And also, teacher can provide very constructive and effective feedback to the students because there are crisp success criteria which have already been formulated. So with all this, what we find is that the research also supports this. The research, which was done by Professor John Hattie, we all know him. He's a very famous education researcher. He has worked upon the effect of different factors or different interventions on the educational outcomes. An effect size of 1 means that the learner's achievement is advanced by 1 year, or the rate of learning has improved by 50% if the effect size is 1. Effect size which is above 0.4 is considered to be above average. So it was found that if there is clarity on the task, the effect size of that is 0.75. Also, the effect size of meaningful feedback. Now you can see, because success criteria is there, meaningful feedback can be given by the teacher, or even during the self or peer assessment, there could be a meaningful feedback. and this meaningful feedback has an effect size of 0.74. So therefore, both sharing the learning intention as well as sharing the success criteria with the students have huge impact on students' learning. So let's recap now. First, learning intentions should be framed using observable and measurable verbs. We should share learning intentions with the students. There are various ways of sharing it. We should keep revisiting the learning intentions as we proceed with the lesson. We should employ variety of methods to share the learning intentions. Also, we should provide success criteria, very clear success criteria to the students for a learning task or activity. We should engage the children in monitoring their progress with the help of success criteria. We should involve children in self or peer assessment based on the success criteria. And finally, provide constructive feedback to the students on their work. So I hope now you have got a clear idea of what are learning intentions and success criteria. So if you have liked this video, share it with your fellow educators and don't forget to share, like and subscribe this channel. Thank you so much.